Hey, y'all. Welcome to another great edition of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. Live Vibe 2.0. As usual, I'm your girl, Stephanie Hardy, host and creator of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast, co host of Women's Wrestling Talk, commentator for the Belladonna Division. And I am so happy to be here with an amazing content creator, an amazing TikTok extraordinaire who makes me laugh a lot of the time. And she also creates gaming content as well. So please welcome Miss Cresta Starr. How are you?
Thank you so much for having me, Stephanie. I am doing well. What a great introduction. I feel so special.
Yeah, that's what I try to do for all of my guests is to make them feel special and just give everybody, what the credentials are so they can know who you are and what you've got going on. So you're definitely worth it. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure to talk about wrestling and video games with fellow enthusiasts, nerds, whatever you want to call yourself.
Yeah, I'm more of an enthusiast in terms of video games ish a little bit, but then more so when it comes to wrestling though. So that's kind of what I sort of am into. But I just want to talk about everything, that you're into as well as my guest. So I'm gonna start by asking you, when did you fall in love with wrestling?
So I've always been a fan of wrestling, way back when Stone Cold Steve Austin was terrorizing Vince McMahon. But I stopped watching wrestling around the time Ruthless Aggression era John Cena just came out because life happened. I had to go to work and I wasn't taking off of work to get money to watch wrestling. I want
Right.
to say it was 2018. Me and my little brother, we didn't always get along, so we started bonding later on in life over wrestling. It was something we did as kids, and I remember seeing Nia Jax. And the last time I watched wrestling, women like her, they didn't wrestle, and the women that did wrestle, they weren't dressed like her. So I was instantly intrigued. I had already been memeing online for various video games, and I was making fun of Ronda Rousey's makeup because I think it was the Money in the Bank where I was like, girl, these makeup artists did you dirty, girl. And I just did a video on Instagram, and my friend's like, you should just keep doing these. Why not? These are funny. And it just tumbled out of control. And I really started getting into the storylines and everything. And really, Becky Lynch becoming the man, that whole storyline arc, really hook, line, and sinker. And every other moving part, I needed to know more. I was addicted, if you will, to wrestling.
Yeah, I totally get it because it's just like it's so funny that you mentioned Nia Jackson, how she sort of, reeled you in a sense because she does look different, Lena
Mhm.
Fernandez, what she goes by now, of course, since she's left the WWE. But it's just like she didn't look like all the regular girls that you would see, back in the day, like in the early 2000s and stuff like that. So it's just like when you see someone who looks different in that way, it pulls in women who really identify more so with looking a different sort of way because everybody doesn't look like the model. So,
Exactly.
so it's really good that she was able to be there. And then you also have other women like Awesome Kong who was in wrestling as
Mhm.
well, like who looked very different and represented, that type of woman. So it's really good. And then you mentioned Becky Lynch and the man. Of course, that was a whole thing. Even though I kind of miss old Becky when she was like, there was a whole period where she was calling herself the last kicker and she was much nicer
Mhm.
and she was more so of an underdog. So it was just kind of like, okay, well, I love this. I love that Becky. This Becky, on the other hand, like the man Becky, that was really cool and it was really
Mhm.
badass, right? But then you also have this Becky, big time Bex, that's just a little bit obnoxious. But I know she's doing that just for fun. But at the same time, it's like you gotta admire her and her ability to transform. So I do like that a lot.
No, absolutely. I think that the reason why I gravitate towards Becky Lynch as far as her as a wrestler is something like what you just said here. You can see her come from one character to another character to another character, whether she's the underdog at the top of her game or absolutely delusional.
Yeah, it's hilarious. So would you say she's your favorite horsewoman out of the four?
Honestly, I have a respect for all four of them for different reasons. I I can't say if it's between her and Sasha Banks. There's different times where I'm like, wow, I really like this one, why I really like that one. So it's a tie. In between her and Sasha Banks. I know we don't like a tie, but it's a tie.
Hey, I agree with that. I completely respect that. If it's a tie, it's a tie. I love them all for various reasons as well, but
Mm-hmm.
Sasha Banks is definitely my number one.
Mm-hmm.
She is my number one, and I miss her so much. But I mean, we'll probably get into
Yeah.
that a little bit later. So when did you fall in love with video games?
I have been playing the lore starts that I've been playing video games since Duck Hunt. There's pictures of my dad holding me up to the screen with the Nintendo blaster trying to shoot the ducks. I've always loved video games. Growing up I was bullied, so I didn't have a lot of friends, but I could play video games where no one could bully me. Plus I had two brothers. My little brother and my older brother would rip the heads off my dolls.
Oh God.
But true awfulness. But if they needed help in a puzzle, come here, fix this. I'm like, I don't want to. And then I end up doing it. And next thing you know, they'd fall asleep and I got the controller. And this is me, 3 a.m. in the morning, playing Super Metroid or Mario Kart or something, just up all night. And it evolved and it really spiraled out of control with World of Warcraft.
Wow. So that's crazy. So basically, it all just started, with you, playing Duck Hunt, and then it transitioned further into you having a place to go in a safe space because you were being bullied.
Yeah, kids are awful,
Yeah.
and later on in life, you see some of these people, whether it be social media or you see them just in regular life, and you come to find out that you guys had so many things in common, and I was able to create friends, whether it be imaginary when I was younger, and as I got older, the information age started popping off and everybody was on the internet. I've made tons of friends I've never met across the world, and I didn't mind not going outside. Why would I go outside and get bullied when I could stay inside and bully some boars? No one gets hurt if I kill these boars.
Yeah, that is true. And it's good. I know the further I look into video games, even through my boyfriend and also through watching Xavier Woods' channel Up Up
Mhm.
Down Down and hearing interviews of various people, even wrestlers, or even not people who aren't wrestlers. It's like video games really do help people and actually, give people a feeling of feeling accomplished at something once they finish a whole game or they really like the story or just for various reasons it just gives them the ability to sort of escape, and that's really valid. So kudos to you for finding that sort of community in a sense that helps you sort of feel like you have a safe space to be when the world can be kind of trash. I
Yeah.
totally get it. And wrestling in a sense can be that sort of place as well, so I totally 100% get it. And just the idea that your brothers tore up your dolls, oh my god.
Listen, I
That's
have
so
two
funny.
brothers and I love them both now. But growing up with two brothers, if you are the only girl, hell, that's what it is. I love them now, the house now, but it was terrible growing up. And to touch on your point about wrestling, there's a community there. I've met so many cool people, so many cool women who like wrestling, because especially as a girl, girls don't like that. Some girls get it. The girls who get it, and the girls who don't. And when you're
Right.
around the girls who get it, it's a beautiful feeling because you can be passionate. You can be loud without someone saying, that's fake. It's like,
Right. Don't
let me
say
enjoy my
that.
thing.
Like, don't say that. That's a bad word. It's just like on Young Rock where they said, don't say the F word in their family. That's the F word. Do not say wrestling is fake because it ain't.
Let us be great. Let us be great.
Right. Let us be happy. So, did you ever face any teasing about you loving video games or even teasing because you love wrestling?
um, Not from my brothers because we all had camaraderie over at least that, but In school, I was bullied for everything. So it didn't matter that I liked video games. Once I got out of school in my 20s, absolutely. There were friends or people who I considered close friends who were like, oh my God, you still play video games and you're this old? You're going to be like 50. What are you, a child? And it's annoying. And it's like, at first I was offended. And then I'm like, I get it. It's hard to see someone else chasing their dreams, knowing that you don't have the courage to do it yourself. And I would want the best for you, but I'm not going to let you project that onto me. I'm going to keep persevering. I'm going to keep pushing through, you know, and people are going to talk about you, whether you are doing great or bad. And never directly for wrestling. If anything, I've had people talk condescending to me, like, you don't know what you're talking about. And then when I give it back to them, the way they give it to me, it's now I'm a bully. No, I just know how to cut a promo.
Hey. Exactly. Like that is exactly the type of energy that I love because it's just like I know people feel that way about me because I love Disney movies even still.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I'm 28 years old and I will talk about Disney movies with like people who are like kids or like teenagers who are still into it. Like I like just recently I had
Mm-hmm.
one of the best conversations about Encanto with a teenager, and it's like her mom was kind of just looking at me like, bro, you're almost 30 years old. Why do you and I'm sitting here like, because it's good and I actually have something that makes me happy. And if you really think about Encanto, there's lots of adult stuff in that movie that is just really deep once you get past the cartoon of it all. And it's just like these stories, are very valid even in your adult lives. And it doesn't stop, just because you reach a certain age and you
Mm-hmm.
just want to, pretend like, oh, I'm old and I can't be into this. Oh, no, that's not true. Because how else do kids get into stuff? Because they see the adults in their lives into it.
Very true.
So
I
it's
think it's
just,
also the
yeah,
community as well. And I think that's very important. And some adults lose that when they get older because you think you have to be an adult a certain way. But if your bills are paid and you're not committing a crime, what's the problem? You know what I mean?
right.
It's just weird to see other adults like, we're all grown. Why are we trying to bully each other? Do better. Want better for yourself.
Exactly. It makes no sense. Like, let people love what they're going to love
Hmm.
and understand that there's more than one way to be a person. So I totally get that. But I'm also glad that you found a way to sort of rise above that in saying that that's just other people sort of projecting their insecurities onto you. And that's not fair.
Hmm.
So, ultimately, I feel like we should all just be adults about our insecurities and take care of them, via therapy or any other ways that you can, and not project them onto other people because it's not fair to other people in their journey.
It's hard for adults to admit that they need help, especially when you've been told that things need to be done one sort of way. And I am a big proponent of maybe get therapy or at least reflect on the inside and be able to say, hey, maybe I was wrong. I don't think there's any right way to be an adult. And
Right.
I think that when you pigeonhole yourself into being some sort of adult or something like that, you miss out on fun. You miss out on the things that you
Yeah.
used to like. And then for what? To give off the appearance that you are like, and the people who that matters to, they don't care about you ultimately. You know what I mean? So be happy, do you, and don't yuck somebody else's yum. And if you feel yourself doing that, maybe you need to look on the inside.
Mhm.
And like, what is it about them being happy that makes you unhappy?
Exactly. Exactly. So what would you say is your favorite video game of all time and why?
Easy. The Legend of Dragoon. I have an emotional connection to that game. And I guess the way I feel about that game is how most people feel about Final Fantasy VII. It was my first video game, perm death. It had a lot of deep meaning. Like, just because you think who the bad guy is, that's not really the bad guy. It's good plot twist. The end game, what's that thing called? The end game cutscene at the time, animation was 10 out of 10. The story, I loved it. It was a long game. It was like literally my first game I think I played the whole summer growing up because it was long, 4 discs. And a close second is Tetris Attack because it's mindless and I could just beat up on people.
Wow, a 4-disc video game.
Oh yeah, I highly recommend that game. It is really good. My only critique of the game is that it's really hard to avoid combat because I think it's like if I remember correctly, it's random combat. But Legend of Dragoon, I would play it over and over and over and over again. It's just long.
Yeah, I totally get it. Even though I didn't grow up with consoles like a lot of people
Mhm,
did in their houses, like PlayStations and Xboxes and stuff, I find that I would have fun going out to arcades and stuff or places with arcades.
mhm.
And I love to play Guitar Hero. And I also love Just Dance because I would go over other people's houses and they would have consoles and I would do Just Dance with them or at the store or something like that. And then I also love Street Fighter. Like
Ah,
me and my boyfriend had so
yes.
much fun playing Street Fighter 5 when he got it. And it was like and Tekken 7 because that's one of the games that I find is the easiest for me to play because I can just press
Mhm.
buttons and see what works.
I
And then
love that.
once I get something that works, like I actually got really good at Tekken, over
Mhm.
the course of a couple of months. And but somehow Street Fighter 5 I really didn't get that good at. Like I'm okay at it, but I'm not as good at it as I am at Tekken.
As long as you're having fun, I think that's the ultimate goal. Whether you want to compete and have fun or just be casually good fun, as long as you're having fun, I think that's the goal of video games. And if a video game is making you mad, put it down, walk away. Walk away, yay,
Exactly.
yay.
Exactly. And sometimes you do get frustrated, but
Mhm.
it's just you just have to take a deep breath and not do that. Cause I think I threw one of my boyfriend's controllers one time and he just cut the game off. He was like, "No, we're not gonna do this. You're not gonna be turning on my stuff."
I have not played first person shooters since SOCOM. That's a really old PlayStation game. I threw my controller at the TV because I was so mad because someone was camping the stairs. They were glitching in the stairs. So the
Uh-huh.
kill cam was the stairs. I'm like, are you kidding? I have never touched a first person shooter ever since.
Oh
I
my goodness.
was like, if I have to throw a controller, it's time to walk away. Yay, yay.
I think I'm gonna be singing that for the rest of the week. Gotta walk away, yay, yay.
If it's getting on your nerves, like walk away. Yay, yay.
Exactly. So, as you've sort of built your brand around, loving wrestling and reacting to things and also loving video games as well, had you faced any obstacles as you've been building your brand?
Absolutely. I'm going to say this openly. Financially, it's rough. It's
Yeah.
rough. It is very rough trying to create unbiasedly and beautifully and something that's not harmful, that just inspires conversation. It's not cheap, and it's hard, it's rough. I do love all the doors that video games have opened and subsequently wrestling has opened. I got to meet many a people and I have a chance now to chase my dreams for real, and I'm very 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 happy about that. It's just expensive. Living in general is expensive, and this is 10 times as harder because I'm sure you get it with the computers and the
Mhm.
equipment, and then you got to upgrade your equipment, and then if there's a con or a meet and greet, you got to go do the interviews, you got to make sure that you can get the bus tickets and the hotel, feel like Lady Gaga, club, plane, another club. That's literally what you have to do if you are trying to make it happen. And when you see the fruits of your labor, even if it's a tiny seed, you're like, but you're in debt.
Right.
I know somewhere somebody, Allah, Buddha, Jesus, whoever, I will take your blessings. It's gonna pay off, and that's what I keep telling myself. It's gonna pay off, and I see it moving slowly. But the biggest obstacle is financial. I will say there are undertones of racism and misogyny because a lot of people think because I'm a woman, especially a black woman, and oh, you haven't been watching. I don't listen to that.
Mhm.
I'm not saying that it's not there, but to quote Megan the Stallion, you know better than let me hear you, because I'm gonna push the door open, and once I come, everybody else is coming. Unproblematic people. Let me rephrase that. Unproblematic people are coming. I feel
Right.
like you can't be racist or misogynistic and love wrestling or video games, something that has vast, diverse, and enriching stories of other races, not just humans. You got merfolk, you got Draenei. If you play World of Warcraft, you have these things. So to me, it those people, you're gonna talk, you're gonna talk, you're gonna talk, and at the end of the day, go over there, because we're going to make
Yeah.
progress and you're going to meddle over there and people are going to keep changing. It's going to happen whether you like it or not. So,
Yes, I absolutely agree with all of that because it's so funny you just brought up conventions and I was just at one except it was local. Because
mhm.
I'm from Alabama, so it's just it was my first time ever doing Alabama Comic Con as a vendor, and
Oh,
it was
nice.
fun. Yeah, it was absolutely fun. I enjoyed it. I actually got to meet some people who do listen to my podcast and, have that exposure for other people who might not have known about it before. And it is a lot financially.
Hmm.
And it is a lot, in the wrestling world, it's really rough as a content creator because you also have people who try to use, racist and other type of language at you to try to undermine, where you're going to go. Like I've even had people whenever I've come out in support of a certain person who just so happens to be a black woman, like say for instance Big Swole at the very beginning of
Hmm.
this year when she was going through everything she was going through with AEW, and
Hmm.
her speaking out on the issues that she had with diversity and stuff. I had people saying unkind things to me in comments that basically led to them saying, "Oh, well, your podcast is just small and it's never going to grow from anything and it's just going to never matter and all this other stuff." And get mad whenever I would post anything about Black History Month. But I was told a long time ago, like, you have to, tell your truth. And if it makes people mad, then those are people who weren't meant to listen to you in the first place. So that shout out to Janelle from the HR from Jobber Tears podcast. She said that to me. And
Yes.
I've been taking that and I've been running with it ever since. And it's been doing good for me so far because it's like, I mean, this past weekend was really huge.
Hmm.
Um, in terms of being able to meet some of my favorite women's wrestling heroes, Trish Stratus, Lita, and Mickey James,
Nice.
and being able to ask them questions and get encouragement from them, and all the things I do in wrestling. So that meant the world to me. But I also know as a black woman, um, I am very aware of what can happen. But at the same time, I also know that the higher power that I believe in didn't give me the ability to have this platform for no reason. So
Come on now.
so I'm here, and anyone who loves the fact that I'm here, they can listen to it and they can listen to you, and it'll be okay. So whoever it's meant for is whoever it's meant for,
Exactly.
and we
And
can't
those
quit.
people they're not gonna pay your bills. All they're gonna try to do is get your lights shut off. So,
Hmm. But they can't do that because as long as we have the power,
period.
So we have the power, and as long as we have the power, that's all that matters. So, is there anyone that you sort of look to as an entity for inspiration or encouragement as you build your brand and as you find your voice in video gaming and in wrestling?
So when I first started interviewing people under video games, when people would interview me, I would always tell them I wanted to be the Oprah of video games. I would look up to people like Oprah, and as I've gone on this journey, I want to be the first Cresta. I want to build a community around people who like more than one thing. So I do look to people like Oprah Winfrey, who's able to take her brand and extend it beyond just a talk show. I look to everyone, to be honest with you. I look at people because everyone in this world, in my opinion, is a lesson if you can learn and extrapolate from them, because you can see what other people are doing in the role where you want to be and where they messed up. You can see where people excelled at. You can see where the person was on the precipice of greatness and then where they failed. And if you want to follow in their footsteps, if you can take away for whatever they failed at and improve upon it, you can take these lessons and learn. You can consistently learn. So I also look at other Black women. I'm gonna keep it 100% with you. My grandma is one of the toughest women that I know, and I'm like, if she can do it and raise everybody kids and her kids and me and my brothers, if my grandma could do it, I could do something. I gotta do something. You know what I mean? And look at all the other women who have tried to come before me and may or may not have failed. The ones who have succeeded and quote unquote sold out. Who cares? Like, where can I learn from that? Where can I take it and apply it to myself and press forward and be the best possible version of myself? Like, when I look at female professional wrestlers, I look at all of them and I say, wow, I love Jade's hustle. I love Sunny Kiss's conviction. I love Trish Stratus's innovation. There's so many things about them that, like, unless you were like a crappy person in real life, like for real, there's something about you that I'm going to draw inspiration from, because you can do it. So can I, because you were probably a regular, degular, schmegular girl like me. You know what I mean? So you
Mm-hmm.
can take it from anybody. Everyone should inspire you. To me, everyone should be able, you can at least learn from them. So come on, Oprah.
Exactly. Like I love that because Oprah's the standard when it comes to the media. Like when it
Hmm.
comes to Black women in media, she is the standard. She is the bar, you know. But then you also see so many other women, you know, making their own way. Like you have Tamron Hall,
Hmm.
and for me, another person that I get inspiration from is it has nothing to do with wrestling and a little bit to do with media is Tabitha Brown. Because she has gone so far with just being herself,
She's
and
smart.
she's smart. Like she's smart, and then she's also spiritually sound,
Hmm.
and that's something I just really love about her. She's just really sweet, and it just seems, and she works really hard, and she has worked so hard, you know, to get to where she's at, and you just see her in everything, like in spices and clothes
Yeah.
and books and hair care and kids programming. Like you see her in everything, and it's just like, you know, I kind of like, I think I might want to be that type of a person. But either way, you know, you're right. There's inspiration that can be taken from anybody, whether it be you're learning what to do or what not to do.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, you know, it's always important to have an open mind and be a student.
Hmm.
You can't just be a know-it-all in everything and think, you know, you got all the answers, because you'll find out you ain't got all the answers.
Like, if you had all the answers, you wouldn't be asking me silly questions, and you'd be rich upon the mountain most high. You know what I mean? Like, you can learn
Right.
from everyone. Everyone is a lesson. Everyone is a lesson.
Yeah. So, what other hobbies do you have outside of gaming and outside of wrestling?
So I am a fan of ballroom, like legendary voguing. I am a avid supporter of the LGBTQ. I try to support them as much as humanly possible. As an ally, I think it's important to use your voice to help people. If you are in a place of privilege, if you can help someone, if you see them being marginalized, even if you're marginalized yourself. And I enjoy going to learning ballroom culture. I enjoy drag culture. Um, I like food. I enjoy eating. And also, like, if you give me, like, I'm a tinkerer at heart. I like to build things. I like to do a lot of sketch comedy. I'm a clown. I like to entertain people. So when I'm not getting lost in sports entertainment or video game entertainment, I want to make people laugh. Because as a bullied person, I feel like if we can at least laugh just for a split second, because the world is rough, but for a
Right.
split second, if you can feel like, wow, this girl is silly. You got me,
Mm-hmm.
gal. Come on now. It's you gotta take what you can. The small victories, small victories.
Yeah, definitely. I get it. It's so funny you brought up ballroom culture
Mm.
because, like, it's so funny you brought that up because I miss the TV show Pose so much.
I never watched it
Oh my
because
God.
I was working so much. It's the worst when you want to watch things. By the time you come home from work, this is you.
Right.
Dead on arrival.
Yeah, I get it. And it's just that really the first time I had heard anything about ballroom culture was from that show. And though I am an advocate for the LGBTQIA plus community
Mhm.
myself, um I just didn't know about it because, you know,
Mhm.
I live in Alabama, so there's really only so much but then there's all the other stuff that you don't know. So when I saw this show and saw how, glamorous a lot of the outfits were and the characters and everything, I was like,
Yes.
this looks good. And so I got into it and never quit watching. And I watched like all 3 seasons because the stories of these people and what they've been through
Oh,
and how they rise above in order to create something beautiful is just something I will always admire and just love. And it made me want to go back and learn some things in history that I had never known before. Like it's just it's amazing, and I love how we're having this conversation and it's Pride Month.
yes.
It's just really important, and I just love that you're into that and seeing shows like Legendary on HBO Max,
Hmm.
get the, attention that it deserves, along with continuing to see
Yeah.
shows like RuPaul's Drag Race continue to thrive and give, attention to so many beautiful people in that community. Like it's really great. It's grand, and I'm glad that we're having that. And even in wrestling where we're getting more people of
Inclusive.
various,
Yeah.
yeah, inclusive, um in various sexualities and stuff like that and identities. It's great, and it shows that the world is evolving past, what it used to be. And of course there's always, room for improvement. And now I can't specifically speak on it from that perspective,
Yeah.
but there's always room for improvement. But I'm glad that we are going somewhere with that, and I think that that's cool that you're into that. I've never seen a ball physically. Like I would love to, but one day I hope I can see one physically. But
I would say if you liked Pose, there was a show that came out on Vice called My House that follows a few people that have already been on Legendary. This was before Legendary, way back in the day, and that's when I really first like saw what ballroom was, because I'm an old lady. I'm 35. I'm not ashamed to say it.
okay,
I
that's not old.
Some people
Stop
are
it.
like, Grandma, you got the rickets, but here I am, knees intact. I've been following Leomi since America's Best Dance Crew when she was on there. And to me, the way this woman, her body and gravity just doesn't, they don't talk to each other. The way she just effortlessly moves, it's just crazy to me. And then when you get to hear that they dance and that the ballroom culture is just so beautiful, and then hearing the struggles that these people go through, it really makes you really put your life in perspective, like, damn, you know what I mean? It
Right.
like, damn, like, just be nice to one another, be kind, because you really never know what someone else is going through, and help out and support if you can, because honestly, we can argue, and arguing will just get you talking in circles and worked up for no reason. In the words of he who shall not be named, don't work yourself into a shoot, brother.
Right.
Like, just
Right.
help, be nice. Like, there's no point in being a jerk, because what? To prove what? For what?
Exactly.
And
Like
plus the dance moves. Oh, so good, so good, so good, so good.
right. Like that's the kind of stuff that I feel like you almost can't even teach. And if you do teach it, it's like it'll take like so much work to get it
Yes.
together, right? Oh
I
my
took
gosh.
2 ballroom classes. Two. My body was sore for weeks.
Ooh.
Weeks. That's why I think that drag and wrestling are on the same spectrum, just on opposite sides.
Uh-huh.
The physicality that it takes to do both, that's why I respect all of the performers, all of them, because I can, even the ones you may not like in kayfabe, you may not like the wrestler, but you gotta respect the talent, because
Yes.
you couldn't run the ropes, you couldn't throw yourself on the floor. And I know people who I grew up with who are independent wrestlers. You cannot do what they do. So dislike the character. Don't be weird to the person. It's wrestling.
Right.
I want you to dislike the character, especially if I'm a heel or a heater. I want you to. But once you get weird on your keyboard, like, that's weird, because you could never. Like, and literally, if you got in the ring, then it's like, now he's a bully or she's a bully. Like, don't do that. Like, don't do that.
Right. And it's just like these people do all these superhuman things. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like, I just respect them so much because it's just like they do this. And not only do they do this once, they do this like maybe 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5 times a week.
I take a chair to the knee and I'm down for a month. What are you talking about?
Right. I bumped my toe. I bumped my toe into a chair leg, and then I just got to sit down for like 15 or 20 minutes. No. Oh my gosh. These people, they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing, and we should respect
Truly,
them.
truly, absolutely.
Exactly. So, when did you decide? Well, actually, pause. Let me ask another question. You
Okay.
talked about, in the indies. Have you been to an independent show before?
Okay, so funny story, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have not. I met a wrestler the first time I met a pro wrestler. I did not have a good experience, and I've been scared crapless ever since. And then I
Oh,
reclaimed my power. And I'm like, I'm going to start going out to shows because heck that. You, somebody who probably don't even know I exist, is not going to let determine what I'm going to do with my life. But the only show I ever got to go to, I had took my little brother to WrestleCon. And the second time I met a wrestler, that was the second time I met some wrestlers. Wrestlers, so I got to meet JTG and Shad Gaspar before he passed. And they were
mm-hmm.
incredibly nice. And it really made me like, just because you had one bad experience with one person, they could just be a jerk. They could be having a bad night. Maybe you could have been an annoying fan. Who knows? But don't let that person who, again, doesn't even know you exist make you want to be like, I don't want to go to shows. I don't want to, because I would hate to be that annoying fan that someone has to tweet about, like, no, you were asking. I would hate that. I would be mortified. So I was like, I don't want, if it's just me yelling at my screen, that's what it's gonna be. But I'm like, you know what? I feel like maybe it was a misunderstanding, or maybe he was just a jerk. But who cares? I'm gonna go to shows. I'm gonna have a good time. Heck you.
Right. You can't let, even though I understand that having a bad experience, does put a sour taste in your mouth. You're just kind of like, oh,
Mm.
I don't know if I belong here, or, and you have all these thoughts in your mind and you sort of, try to go back and
Yeah,
replay what you could have done
exactly.
differently. Like, that's
Mm.
something I do a lot. You can't really just let that stop you. So I'm
Yeah.
glad that you were able to go back and have a good experience, and then to have an experience with Crime Time too. Um,
Yeah.
that's really
The
cool.
nicest guys, truly the nicest guys ever, the nicest people, the nicest. I cannot stress that enough. It is rest in peace, Shag Gaspar. You were the nicest guy. It was a pleasure meeting him and JT, the nicest people.
Yeah, I'm glad that you had that experience. And also, let me just be a woman for a second. I believe JTG is fine. He is so fine. I I just had to let it go. I just had to let it go and just be. Oh,
Woman, a woman. There's another reason why I watch wrestling.
he's so fine. Like, now, mind you, when Crime Time was in WWE,
Mm,
I felt like he was okay. But the
mm.
older he's gotten and he got that beard going, he got thicker, and I'm just like, whoa, he is
Like, I
fine.
am looking respectfully.
Respectfully, I am looking at JTG. Respectfully, he is fine. So yes, I just had to say that. So I just had to get that out there. Just love and respect to him, because Shad was his brother, and
Mm,
that was a deeply sad loss. But I believe that
yeah,
Shad's soul is in a much better place.
yeah.
I really believe that. So I'm glad you had that great experience, though. So, when was the first time you realized that what you were doing and the content that you were creating was resonating with others?
When my first TikTok reached 1 million views, because I don't even know how that happened. And I was gooped, gagged, bamboozled, because I had been streaming for like I've been doing this now, content creation, whether it be for video game, well, mostly for video games and now for wrestling in the past 3 years, for 10 years now. And I
Oh,
told myself when I
wow.
was younger, like, I want to be famous. And it was like, you ain't want to be famous. People shame you for not for wanting that. I had been streaming games and there were high moments, but none of my content reached the height that this had. And it was the Randy Orton video when he gave Edge the concerto right when Edge came back after they were hyping up how they surgically repaired Edge's neck.
Yeah.
I was just yelling like I always do into the void, like I do on Instagram and Twitter and Twitch. And I was just like, I can't believe it. And then people were like, yo, she thinks this is real. I'm like, what? As I'm reading the comments, they're like, LOL, people still thinking it's real. I'm like, wait a minute, wait. Are you guys getting worked up? And it just became a meme until the meme became real life. I worked myself into a shoot, into a work, into a shoot, into a work. Because now I realize that you guys, not you guys, let me rephrase that. Now I realize that people, if you like wrestling, you probably have a tie to it from when you were younger, or there's a specific storyline that you could go back to and say, this is what got me, gal. And then you watched, especially just WWE, and it can be frustrating. It can be frustrating. One thing I've been saying all week is that I have speech at 100. If you ever played games, you can put your speech up. That's me at 100. I can talk. And sometimes people don't understand what they're watching, and you'd rather have someone explain to you what happens, because what they're telling you on wrestling TV, you like, come on now. Come on now. And it's funny. It's funny. People want to laugh. You remember watching wrestling and laughing. Granted, the Attitude Era, as much as we remember it fondly, was wildly problematic.
It was.
We laughed, and you can still have that laughter. You can still be wild, but not problematic. And I think that I only use the WWE in this example because so many people point to wrestling and say, that's wrestling, that's professional wrestling, and that's okay. We all grew up on it. But WWE has a problem of doing the same storyline over and over. So it's like, if you're going to play in my face, you're going to get these jokes. I'm laughing, and everyone's laughing with me. So when I react, I'm reacting as someone who's there in the moment. Like, I'm following the storyline. This is Days of Our Lives, but with the chair shots and garbage cans and steel cages. I'm in the storyline. Yes, of course, I know it's scripted things. You don't have to tell me for the 80th time. But at the same time, I can't defend you, WWE, when you putting dog poop on Roman Reigns. What am I supposed to do here? How am I going to tell my friends to watch this? And they tune in and they look at me like this. This is what you watch, Cresta? What am I supposed to do? So if you go play in my face, you're getting these jokes. And people like the jokes. So at that moment, I was like, now I felt like Diddy. I can't stop now.
Right.
I have to keep doing this. And the more I kept doing it, even when wrestling felt like, oh my God, what am I watching? I was able to find a deeper appreciation and a deeper love for wrestling. Sometimes it's not all about what you think. Sometimes you got to think about the backstage. Sometimes you got to think about all the other things that go into it. And you're like, you know what? This may not have been what I wanted to watch, but it's okay. Maybe I just needed to suspend my disbelief just a little bit more. You'll find something to like about it. So, I mean, unless they're treating their people wow bad, and then you can have a fair and honest critique about it, not a disingenuous one. But once people were like, these are funny, as wrestling fans who get it, again, if you get it, you get it. And if you don't, you don't. It's a living meme. And I can't stop now. If I want that fame star, and people get famous for less, let me at least be famous for being partially funny. Let me get something.
Yes. I get it, because I remember, I don't even, you know what? I'm trying to think, what was the very first video I saw of yours? And I think it probably was that when you was reacting to Randy Orton. And I was just like, this girl is going ham. I love it. Like, she's really into it. Like, I really, like, you're into it the way I'd be into it, except I'd be like, oh my God, like, this is happening.
Because you
But
can't believe it. You're like,
you
what is...
Like, I felt like that Monday when Edge and when Edge got kicked out of Judgment Day. I was shook.
I was laughing to myself. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I keep cutting you off. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. And then I felt like that yesterday when I was watching NXT and Apollo Crews popped up. I was like, whoa, like that freaked me out. So I was like, okay. But, I felt like you and I were just kind of like kindred in the sense that, okay, she's into it, I'm into it, we're not alone. This is what I need. Okay.
Why not be a fan? Have a good time. Like, come on.
Yes.
just get in. To quote Doja Cat, get into it, yeah. Just get into it. It's fun.
Yes.
Once you suspend your disbelief and know that this is just this, it's a ton of fun, or it's not. Like, I don't know. The girls who get it, get it. The girls who don't, I don't
Yeah, you
know.
can't take it seriously like all the time. Like
Period.
it's serious
Yes.
because you love it, of course, but at the same time,
Mm,
you still have to enjoy yourself. Like the goofy
exactly.
stuff is still fun. So, excuse me, I need to stand up. Like the goofy
No, you
stuff,
get
the goofy stuff is still fun, if you just relax and just laugh about it.
exactly.
So how exactly do you feel about the state of wrestling now? And what do you think could be good and what do you think could be improved upon? This is across all brands. It doesn't have to be just WWE or just AEW, but just across the whole spectrum of wrestling.
Sorry, I had to cough. I apologize for that. Um, I think first I want to start with what I love.
Mm-hmm.
I love the inception of AEW. I feel like watching WWE all those years ago and now watching WWE after AEW's inception, there has been a slight quality upgrade in
Mm-hmm.
WWE, whether it's reactionary or not. And Roman Reigns going from dog food, like I mentioned on him, to being Becky Lynch champ, getting the Usos champ. I mean,
Right.
I don't like the stranglehold on all the belts, but from whence he came, but Roman Reigns getting booed because people thought you were boring, to now getting booed because you're a heel the way you're supposed to get booed, this superb. AEW, I like that AEW came in and heard what people were saying, what they don't like about professional wrestling, and said, I am going to give you what you guys want. I'm going to give you what you want. And we're going to make it hard hitting matches. We're going to make it believable. And we're going to give WWE a run for its money to make WWE put on good shows, good products. I like the presentation. I like the overall diversity that AEW has. Impact. Impact, to me, has the best representation of women's wrestling. They just need a better TV deal or something. I don't know. I want more people watching Impact now. I have a whole new profound respect for just their entire roster in general. And people who watch Impact generally, I have found that people who are fans of Impact are nice. AEW and WWE, for whatever reason, suffers from tribalism, and Impact fans are just nice people. They're like, hey, you watch Impact? Great. And the guys who wrestle, the guys and gals who wrestle on Impact, bust they ass. And to me, they don't look like nobody else on any other product. Nobody, like that whole roster, no matter where you are on the spectrum, they're so diverse. And I respect Impact for that. Now let's go to the bad. I want WWE to GYST, get its stuff together. It really needs to get its stuff together because you've got the legacy. You've got all these amazing players. And I see the same 12 people on TV. And if you're going to use the same 12 people, use them wisely. Like I will never know what it's like to write for WWE unless you want to hire me, Vince McMahon. I don't care. I'm a shill. I'll do it. I'll write. So I'll never know what it's like, but I feel like there's got to be more to life than Cedric Alexander keep begging the Hurt Business for another
Exactly.
shot after they beat him up 80 times. There's got to be more to life than this. They can't be Ciampa randomly beating people up. The same Ciampa who was tearing it up in NXT, there's got to be more to life than that. There's got to be. So now I go to AEW. AEW women's division, you've got all of the chess pieces, but not enough chessboard. You give the women 20 minutes, 30 minutes. If you need someone to help, look, Tony, I'm here. I will I don't care. The highest bidder. Come on, let's go. Let's get it. Let's get this bread. But also, AEW needs, I don't know if they need to restructure. Rampage absolutely needs to be 2 hours. You got a lot of people, and some people are getting lost in the shuffle. It's kind of sad that we only see Lance Archer right when there's a new champion and he needs to beat a monster, and then we don't see Lance Archer again unless you watch Elevation or Dark. That's not fair to Lance Archer, bro. Brian Cage. There's so many people that you have that are phenomenal talent, but there's literally not enough TV time. You guys have great stories, except for the women. What is Thunder Rosa doing? Come on now. That's just a critique I have, and I have faith. Unlike WWE, I have faith in AEW. Be like, my fault, I'm gonna get it together. My critique of Impact again is like, I want them to be on like ABC, NBC, something where more people can get their eyes on it. More people need to see that wrestling doesn't have to be just 1, 2, or 3. There's so many things. Like, overall, I think wrestling is on a rise. There is a new, renewed interest in it. It went from, wrestling's fake to, oh, well, I heard Roman Reigns got all the championships, or, oh, what is this AEW business? There's more people talking about it. And that's wonderful, because I want people to get invested. I want the professionals, the performers themselves, to be able to have health care, be able to get everything that they need to do this for a long term. I don't want people to be 50 and then can't walk. You know what I mean? So the more people get the eyes on it, the more profitable it becomes. And the more profitable it becomes, the people who I like watching, whether it's Alexa Bliss or Adam Cole or Samoa Joe, I know that these guys are now getting more people to like them, more people to go out and support them, more kids who now want to become wrestlers. So if you have kids and your kids, if they won't have a Hardy Boys, they'll have a private party, or they'll have whoever comes after that. So there's camaraderie. There's always going to be a community to inspire young wrestlers. So it's on a rise. I want more people to talk about it. So there's more people like me and you having a passionate conversation about wrestling, the entertainment side, and wrestling, the human side, so the humans can get paid more. Because these are actors. These are stunt women and men. These are people who do so much. And the more people who are into it, the more that they can get, so they can perform at an even higher level, so they can perform and be comfortable and take care of their family, and not, I gotta work until I'm 99 and my arm literally has to fly off in a match. So
Wow. Yeah, that is all really good, profound stuff that you said, and it's real. There's always, of course, room for improvement, but all the good things about wrestling, like it is, it does have renewed interest with different deals that they may have in various streaming, platforms, and of course, more television shows and stuff like that. But there is the improvement that it can have. So all of that, everything that you said is 100% valid. I'm really with you on that. Like seriously, that was really good. I feel like I learned something, so that was really good. So do you believe that representation among Black women in gaming and in wrestling is in a good place, or do you feel like it could be better?
it could absolutely be better, because I'll give you an example of Jade Cargill. Even if Jade Cargill was brand new, the harassment that she got at the very beginning was ridiculous.
It
Yes,
was.
she was able to flip it and say, oh, I'm green, my hair is green. And you know what else is green? Money. You tried it. But there are some other wrestlers who are just who were and still are just as new, if not newer than she is. Like Jade Cargill improves every match, every match. There are some people who are in the same place, and y'all don't give them flack just because they are white or white presenting. And it's like, if you're a woman, you already have your standards way high. And then to put yourself on the internet where people feel that they can say whatever they want to you whenever they want, and then being a Black woman, and there's so many things that I feel like if there was more representation. It's okay to be absolutely gorgeous. I'm not saying that. But if you have women who are absolutely gorgeous, show absolutely gorgeous women all over the spectrum, not just one kind of woman. Because to me, it's like, you can have it all. Wrestling truly shows that you can have it all. You can have a man who is 8'8" wrestle a dinosaur. So you mean to tell me there's only one type of girl who wrestles? Stop it. Like, stop it. I think representation matters for not just Black women, but like all women, because as a Black woman, I can say a lot of the times I can at least see. I don't like saying it like that, because it does sound like, oh, it's the bare minimum. You know what I mean? But like, I think about women who are Native American, who are Asian, who see less of themselves. You know what I mean? Who are Southeast Asian, who see less of themselves, who are African, who see less of themselves. So that's, I'm like, there are people from all over the world, beautiful wrestlers who do amazing stunts and tricks. It'd just be nice. It'd be nice to see all types of women, especially Black women. And I'm going to even go ahead and say, especially dark-skinned Black women, especially
Right.
that, because I feel like sometimes you get pigeonholed into you got to look this way in order to be presented this way. But if you look this way, you're a joke. It's getting better. There's a lot of diverse bodies, diverse voices wrestling, but it can be better in other places, not just one place or two places. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I hope I didn't sound long-winded. I'm so
No, you
sorry.
didn't. No, you didn't. Like everything you said was on point, and you're right. There should be better representation all around for all women. And it's just we've come so far, but what's so sad is just that amongst the fandom, it seems as if sometimes there are some members of the fandom who aren't as accepting to different types of women. And it's so sad because it's just like all of these women, we're all here. So
Mm-hmm.
what is your issue? And it's a personal issue, but at the same time, the production should, evolve to make it appear that way, to appear that the world is as diverse as, it should be on television. So everything you said was absolutely true, and I do respect the fact that you mentioned all women, including darker skinned Black women as well. You basically ran the gamut of all women. So I'm okay with that. Like that's really good, and I'm glad that you actually mentioned that. Now, what has been your favorite wrestling moment so
That's
far
easy. Of
to
all
react to?
time,
Hmm.
my favorite. Oh, okay, wait. So my favorite, I'll give you three. My favorite
Okay,
of
that's
all
fine.
time, Stone Cold Steve Austin pouring cement in Vince McMahon's Corvette. 10 out of 10. That's the funniest. Even to this day, that's the funniest thing in the whole wide world. In a close second is the Steiner Math promo because I damn near know that verbatim. It
Well,
is
can you say
honestly
it?
uh probably not, because now that you put me on the spot, the Alzheimer's is getting me. I told you I was old.
Girl, no.
My favorite moment to react to that I've done when Britt Baker. Oh my God. I'm trying to think who she gave the lockjaw to. It was early in AEW's career. She gave the lockjaw to some girl. It's like 2 million views on my TikTok. And the girl was bleeding. And when
Ooh.
I say, like it looked like it was an accident and you was just accentuated. But when I say the comments were, oh, they were worked up, that was the funniest thing to me. It's like, what if someone did that to you? And I said, well, Britt Baker's a dentist, so it's fine. When I say they were worked up, at that point I knew if I was ever a wrestler, I gotta be a heel, because that was funny. Because you guys really thought that this woman was hurt, but then in the next video, you're telling me wrestling's fake. Oh, there was the fun that was the top 10 number one moment reacted with people just getting worked up over nothing, over nothing, over nothing. And my last favorite moment to react to, honestly, anything MJF does, because he's a
Oh
jerk.
Lord.
But I will say, this man is living the gimmick, and I'm here for it. Like at some point, I just look at it like, yo, this is art. This is performance art. This is art. Like it's art at this point. It's art, because I'm confused.
Right.
Am I getting worked? Am I a mark? This is art. I'm getting.
Yeah, like, or am I the person that he's talking about in terms of being a know-it-all?
You
Like,
mid-tweet on Twitter, you're like,
right,
talk
like,
about me.
do I need to stop? Like, help. Like, that whole promo knocked my socks off. I was like, God dang, MJF, okay, this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing. All right. All right. So, has any wrestling superstar ever seen any of your work so far?
Okay, so I was recently banned on Twitter. Shout out to WWE India and Fight TV. So, but I know before that was banned that Zelina Vega has seen my work. Chris Bay follows me on TikTok, and I follow him. So I know some people have seen my work. Other people may or may not. And even if so, it's like, if it makes you laugh, great. That's why I always watch my mouth too, because because what am I gonna do if I like say something really wild, and then Alexa Bliss shows up at my door? She's probably gonna scoop slam me, and now I'm embarrassed. And there's
Oh
some people
man.
who forget that. It's like, you can have your opinion, that's fine, but dislike the character. Once you start disparaging the human, like, I can think that a storyline is stupid, and I can say this storyline is stupid, but I ground myself in saying that, especially if it's WWE, this person probably don't gotta say. That's just what it is. It's not a secret. We know. It's okay. I don't criticize you. But I'm not going to disparage the human behind it, because they probably looking at themselves on screen like, I know too. I hate this. So I honestly, I don't know. I have nothing else to say on that, because I'm going to keep making myself laugh.
I mean, but at least you've gotten attention though.
I
Like,
mean,
that's good.
I know Brandy Rhodes has seen it once, because she asked me to change a thing on it, because I had swear words in it, because I love to swear. It's my favorite thing to do. I'm a sailor in a new life. So I'm pretty sure other people have, but again, sometimes I feel like, if you don't get my humor, you might think I'm dead ass about it. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have swore. Maybe, can I swear?
It's
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want you to think I'm serious. Like, I'm not seriously upset that Roman Reigns is still the champion. This is the best run of his life. But as a
Right.
fan, if I was reacting, he's a bad guy. Of course I want the bad guy to lose. Come on, what's that clicking, Steven?
Exactly. So I just really love, that you've been able to actually get some of that attention, whether it's been, for, the positive from people or from the negative. I mean, at least you're getting their attention. And Zelina Vega is one of my favorites. Like, I love her.
Same.
I love
The
her so much.
fashion together, the mouthpiece together, everything about Zelina Vega, New York girl to New York girl. Yes, she's the one. Yeah, she is the one. I just wish WWE would let her wrestle. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
someone's opinion can change on a wrestler. All it takes is one match if you let them go out there and wrestle. That's all you got. Look at Wheeler Yuta. Sometimes you just gotta let people wrestle. And I want more people to love Zelina Vega the way I love Zelina
Me
Vega.
too. And she actually follows me too. But that was from a post I made about her shaving Malachi Black's hair. And also from me making Aaliyah posts about her, because she loves to show love to Aaliyah all the time.
Yeah,
And
her.
it's so beautiful.
And she loves Naruto too. She is such, like, on the outside looking in, I see someone like Zelina Vega. It's like, you are probably one of the biggest nerds who's
Yeah.
so down to earth, so chill. And when you're on TV, this way you could be that, like, I love it. I'm getting worked up. I love
Yeah,
it.
I love her too. Like, I really love her, and I want the absolute best for her. I always do.
Same.
So, Zelina, if you're ever watching this, or if you ever see this, know that we love you.
The
You are
best, the
our
greatest.
queen. You are our queen, and we love you. So, who would you say are your top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time? Male, female, or non-binary?
Oof. This is the question that's always the controversy, because people are like, oh, you cannot not have this person. You cannot not have this person. But I'm going to go with my favorite. We're going to go with my number one of all time, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Mhm.
Stone Cold Steve Austin is that guy, largely because what that storyline with Vince McMahon was relatable, especially now that I've gotten older. Have you ever wanted to just beat your boss's butt? Have you ever just wanted to shake the shit out of him?
Yes.
You can't. But Stone Cold did it for all of us.
Right.
Terrorized his boss for all of us. Thank you, Stone Cold. We
To this
appreciate you.
day.
Number 2 has got to go to China.
Yeah.
At the time, nobody looked like that. And I always thought it was strange people don't bring up that she was the only woman to win the Intercontinental Championship.
Right.
She was the girl. And the way that things shook out with WWE breaks my heart to this day. But China, To me, China was the prototype. China was the prototype. She was the girl. China was the girl. In 3, we got Dwayne The Rock Johnson because we share a birthday, May 2nd. And also, like,
cool.
I respect the hustle. I respect it. I respect it. I respect it. I respect the hell out of it. I respect it. In 4th place, we have Becky Lynch, for the same reasons that we mentioned earlier. Watching her after coming back into the wrestling, I never heard her was when she was the last kicker. But when she did that promo and said, for weeks I've been tapping people out, I want my title shot. And Carmella was with James. I was like, I don't care. You get it, but you gonna lose. 2 weeks before that, Charlotte Flair come because Vince McMahon tell her she gotta be in it. And then Becky loses. Then Charlotte Flair gets inserted. Becky pins Carmella. Charlotte Flair's like, nah. And then Becky Lynch is like, ain't no way. Ain't no fucking way. And to me, that's compelling because that's realistic. Like, everyone can relate to that. You ever been like, yo, I've been doing my job. I'm up for this promotion. Nepotism baby is not here. It's me. I got this. And here come nepotism babies like stand aside. And now you pissed. I was believable. And I was so happy. And on top of that, the way that she was able to rock it, because at that time it was supposed to be Ronda versus Charlotte, and that's what we wanted all along. The way that Becky was able to be like, you cannot and you will not deny me, the respect through the roof. That's literally the you will not deny me, no matter who was out. I remember watching for a year, everyone just chanted Becky. It didn't matter if Seth was wrestling. It didn't matter if Drew, Roman, they were all chanting Becky. It did not matter. And I'd never seen people do that for a woman, ever. And fantastic. And for the 5th spot is always hard because there's so many people that I consider about putting in that spot. Like, yes, I like The Undertaker, what he did for the business. There are people like I could say that I like what you did for the business. Then I think of all the Black women that I enjoy personally that don't get enough shine. I'm like, I want to put Ember Moon is one of them. Sasha Banks is another one. And I'm like, okay, but then that's discrediting some of your favorite tag teams. My respect for the Briscoes and the FTR go up in the air. So I just got a top 4. And everyone else is 5th because I love them. Like, I love professional wrestling so much. It's like, come here. I love you all of you. But these are the 4 that I like the most. But the rest of you, come here. Come. Yes, very that.
Well, I definitely respect that. That's one of the most unique answers I've ever gotten to that question, but I actually appreciate it because even though you may not, like the character or you may love the character, you ultimately love them all because they put everything on the line for us, to entertain us. And ultimately you want, if they don't do anything or say anything, problematic outside of wrestling, you love them all. So that's basically how I feel. That's where I'm at. So I definitely get that. I understand that. I get it perfectly. So, what would you say the future holds for you, Cresta?
I would like, and I'm all about manifesting. I wish you could see right above my ring light. I have a mantra that says blessings from above, wisdom from the right, perseverance from below, and courage from the left.
Wow.
I am manifesting because I said it when I was younger. I want to be famous. And I want to have my own talk show. Or I at least want to be on television. I would love to do a valet manager role or at least commentary because I've never seen a woman do commentary for professional wrestling. I ain't never seen a Black woman do commentary for professional wrestling. And wouldn't it be a gag? Wouldn't it be like funny if I did it? So I'm manifesting that. That's what the future holds for Cresta. I would love to maybe do some improv comedy. That'd be fun, dip a little toe, Saturday Night Live if you want to take a pull. Unfortunate. I'm ready to explore my creative wings. And I have to thank wrestling and video games so much for that. Because if I can believe that these ragtag group of people can save the world from the past, and if I can watch a boy and a smaller boy wrestle with their dinosaur or an undead group of them called Decay, I could do anything I want.
Exactly.
I could do anything I want and I'm going to believe it. Or like 50 Cent said, get rich or die trying. So I don't plan on dying anytime soon. So somebody pay me.
Exactly. I 100% agree with that. And I also love the fact that you're manifesting these things. I believe in that too, because it's just like you have to work for the things that you want. Otherwise, it won't come to you.
True.
So I absolutely believe in that. And I love how you have that, above and all the things that you need physically and emotionally and spiritually in order for that to happen. And I believe you can make it happen because you have the personality for it. Now, in terms of
Ew.
commentary, though, maybe one day me and you will commentate because I actually commentate too.
Yes.
So, maybe me and you, will get together and, we can do it together because it's just like Black women on
Yes.
commentary. That is something that is missing. So maybe one day we will do that thing and
I
it'll be
love that.
fun.
I love that. It'd be a laugh. It'll be a hoot and nanny.
Yes, definitely. I'll be JR, you'll be Jerry the King Lawler
Oh.
in another way. In another way, in another way, in another way.
I'll be sideshow Bob for 500, Alex. Thank you.
Yes, it would be fun. It would be really fun. So either way, I believe it can happen because you have it all. You have the personality for it, you have the
Thank
passion, you
you.
you have it all, and I believe in you. But Cresta, thank you so much for coming on the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. So if you would just tell everybody where they can find you and follow you at this time and tell everybody what you got going on, then you can do that.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Hardy Podcast, for having me. My name is Cresta Starr. You can find me on twitter.com at Cresta the Star, like Megan the Stallion, Cresta the Star, two E's. There is a link tree in my bio where you can find all the things that I do, whether it's Twitter, TikTok, or Twitch, everywhere you can find Cresta Starr. That's CRESTA STARR. You will find me. And I also host the Post Impact Show on Fightful every Thursday after Impact at a 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So yeah, pull on up to that. I appreciate you having me. This has really been an honor. Thank you.
Of course, like anybody that's passionate about wrestling, whether it be on TikTok or Facebook or anything, I just try to reach out to them and have them on my show because it's just like it's clear that the passion is there. So if I can have them on, then that's perfectly fine. And I just want to talk to them and see where their head's at and just welcome them onto my show so we can talk about things and chop it up. So this was a really great time. So thank you guys for watching the live vibe of the Hardy Wrestling Podcast. As usual, you can follow me, your girl Stephanie Hardy, on Instagram and Twitter at Queen Steph Hardy, and follow the Hardy Wrestling Podcast on Instagram at Hardy Wrestling Podcast and on Twitter at Hardy Wrestle Pod. So until next time, this is your girl Stephanie and your girl Cresta Starr signing out. Thank you guys. Bye.